kelompok kami. Bisa di next slide. Nah, jadi yang pertama definisi dari keluarga. Nah, keluarga ini tuh didefinisikan sebagai kelompok individu yang saling berhubungan, membentuk suatu kesatuan yang kompleks, dan peran keluarga ini tuh sangat penting karena dapat memberikan dukungan yang mampu menciptakan kedekatan serta memberikan rasa hormat dan cinta kepada pasien. Dan diintegrasikan kedua model ini diberikan terapis dasar untuk menilai dan jika perlu mengobati keluarga yang berduka. Bisa di next slide. Nah, kalau grieving sendiri itu bisa diartikan sebagai berduka dan ini merupakan respon emosional yang diungkapkan terhadap kehilangan yang diwujudkan dengan perasaan sedih, gelisah, cemas, lalu bisa juga sesak nafas, susah tidur, dan lain-lain. Dan grieving ini tuh merupakan respon yang normal terhadap segala peristiwa kehilangan. Bisa di next slide. Dan berdasarkan teori dari Huber-Ross, dari berduka itu ada 5 tahap. Yang pertama denial, anger, regaining, depresi, dan acceptance. Bisa di next slide.
Baik, selanjutnya adalah grieving terapi teknik. Jadi teknik untuk grieving. Kemudian teknik untuk terapi grieving ada 10 teknik. Yang pertama yaitu companioning, yaitu di mana terapis berlaku sebagai teman yang mendengarkan dan uh, membantu keluarga untuk untuk merasa aman. Kemudian distinguishing grief from trauma, yaitu perawat apa namanya, membantu keluarga untuk membedakan perasaan antara berduka dan trauma, dan kemudian memberikan pengalaman untuk apa, untuk sembuh kepada mereka. Terus kemudian separating different emotion, di mana di sini perawat membantu keluarga untuk untuk membedakan berbagai emosi dan mengidentifikasi coping yang sesuai. Kemudian ada biblioterapi, di mana di sini keluarga akan distimulasi untuk membaca tentang berduka sehingga mereka lebih memahami tentang berduka tersebut. Kemudian ada yang creating ritual, di mana keluarga dan perawat bekerja sama untuk membuat ritual baru sehingga mereka tidak memutuskan hubungan dengan orang yang telah meninggal. Terus kemudian riding the wave of emotion, di mana dengan accept emotional changes and develop strategies. Kemudian ada cognitive behavior therapy, di mana di sini perawat berfokus dengan individu untuk mengembangkan tentang pemikiran dan kepercayaan mereka, dan gimana seharusnya mereka ber apa namanya, bagaimana seharusnya mereka berekspresi tentang keyakinan dan pemikiran tersebut. Yang kemudian yaitu acceptance and commitment therapy, di mana di sini klien diajak untuk dealing with negative ideas, feeling and symptom of our circumstances. Dimana jadi untuk mengatasi perasaan negatif dan mengajak untuk berpartisipasi di dalam kehidupan. Terus kemudian ada interpersonal terapi, di mana terapi ini berfokus pada hubungan antara individu tersebut dengan sosialnya dan sering digunakan pada mental health. Kemudian brief electric therapy. Di sini keluarga distimulasi dengan berbagai teknik dari yang di atas untuk memenuhi kebutuhan masing-masing. Kemudian dilanjutkan oleh rekan saya.
Next is coping mechanism. Next slide. First is maintain a routine. Do routines like before experiencing of a state of grief and it will help forget and feelings. Jadi di sini tetap melakukan rutinitas seperti biasanya sebelum perasaan berduka itu terjadi. Next is know that what you are feeling is normal. Give yourself permission to feel whatever you are feeling. Show yourself empathy in the midst of grief. Grief is a unique experience for each individual. Persilahkan diri untuk merasakan apapun yang sedang dirasakan, karena perasaan berduka adalah pengalaman unik setiap individu. Next is find healthy ways to express what you are feeling. Include training using grief, journaling, prompts, talking to someone you trust, like family member and best friend, talking with a therapist who specialist in trauma and grief therapy. Temukan jalan yang sehat untuk mengekspresikan apa yang sedang dirasakan, seperti membuat jurnal, berbicara dengan seseorang yang kamu percaya seperti anggota keluarga atau teman dekat, kemudian pergi ke terapis yang memiliki spesialisasi di trauma dan terapi trauma dan berduka. Don't avoid feeling your difficult feelings. Unaddressed feeling can create heightened level of depression. Jadi, perasaan yang tidak diekspresikan itu dapat menambah level dari depresi dan anxiety. Next slide. Next is restoring routine. Starting hobbies and projects can help the family move forward in life while processing their grief. Jadi, mulai hobi dan project yang tersebut dapat membantu keluarga untuk move on dari perasaan berduka. Next is expressing emotion through art. Art forms can help the family express their emotion in the grieving process. Jadi di keadaan berduka tersebut dapat mengekspresikannya pada seni. Lean on others for support. It is important to seek help from others because people need some type of outside support to begin to initiate the necessary steps to move forward towards healing. Getting support from others can be the key to overcoming traumatic grief. Jadi minta bantuan kepada orang lain karena orang lain tersebut dapat memberikan support yang membuat kalian dapat move on dari perasaan berduka. Next slide. Benefit. There are several advantages associated with traumatic grieving therapy, seperti a decrease symptom, mengurangi gejala, increase coping mechanism, menambah coping mechanism, and increased likelihood for post-traumatic growth, continuing bonds with decades, ability to envision future possibilities, and continue living a meaningful life. Next slide.
Okay, after explaining the material, we can draw the conclusion is grieving is a psychological reaction to illness that can be anger, rejection, guilt, anxiety, and depression. Grieving can leave a big trauma for the family of the patient. Trauma is an emotional response to a terrible event that often includes a threat to someone's life of well-being. Jadi berduka adalah reaksi psikologis terhadap penyakit yang berupa kemarahan, penolakan, rasa bersalah, kecemasan, dan depresi. Berduka ini dapat meninggalkan trauma besar bagi keluarga penderita, dan trauma ini adalah respon normal emosional terhadap peristiwa buruk yang seringkali mengancam kesejahteraan hidup seseorang. Next. And the suggestion, as nurses, we should provide appropriate nursing intervention to families who feel grieving. Providing understanding and being a good listener is one of the techniques that can be used. Besides that, a nurse can teach the right coping mechanism to the families of patients who lose in order to get the spirit of life back. Jadi sebagai perawat kita hendaknya memberikan intervensi keperawatan yang tepat pada keluarga yang merasa berduka, dengan memberikan pengertian dan menjadi pendengar yang baik menjadi salah satu teknik utama yang dapat digunakan. Selain itu, seorang perawat dapat mengajarkan mekanisme coping yang tepat kepada keluarga pasien yang kehilangan guna mendapatkan semangat hidup kembali. Next. Okay, we have covered all of the ground. Thank you for your attention. And sometimes people just disappear. You should love and appreciate them in the time. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for group 4 from regular 1. And we move on to the next group. Okay, it's already presented.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone, and Nurse Eno. Let me introduce our team. So we are from Group 2, Regular 2, and we would like to presentation our discussion about case-based treating grieving patient. Next slide. So this is the name of our team. Next slide. So the background is traumatic grief treatment is a vital intervention for those grappling with a deeply distressing loss. It combines therapeutic technique like imaginary and in vivo exposure to ease emotional distress and mitigate behavioral avoidance. Interpersonal psychotherapy is also used to cultivate patient engagement and nurture a supportive connection. It emerged through a collaborative effort involving experts in psychology, psychiatry, and grief counseling. Materials for traumatic grief treatment include structured session plans, discussion guiding worksheets, and informative resource to aid patients in comprehending the grieving process. By integrating exposure technique and interpersonal psychotherapy methods, it aims to provide holistic support to individuals navigating the profound and intricate process of grieving. Next slide. For the next is the concept of grieving. Grieving is a natural process experienced when facing loss. Nurses should assist in coping with grief, create personalized care plans, and identify signs of grief and loss. Nurses should also offering support and listening to expressions of sorrow. Care plans should include specific goals for addressing grief, helping patients express their emotions, and finding closure. Next slide. There are 11 factors that influencing grieving are nature of the loss, relationship with the disease, cultural and religious beliefs, support system, previous grief experiences, age and developmental stage, gender differences, personality and coping style, age, mental health and pre-existing conditions, and time since the loss. Next slide. Then I would explain the nursing care for treating grieving. The first is assessment. Grief assessment is a process that starts when a patient faces a serious illness or is admitted to a healthcare facility. It continues throughout the patient's terminal illness and into the grieving period for their loved ones. The nurse monitors for signs of complicated grief, which can manifest as physical, emotional, or cognitive symptoms. The nurse should be alert to any behaviors that may pose a risk to the patient, such as signs of depression or thoughts of self-harm, and report them to the healthcare provider. The second is diagnose. The diagnosis divided into two types. There are grieving and complicated grieving. The grieving is a normal and complex process that includes emotional, physical, spiritual, social, and intellectual response and behaviors by which individuals, families, and communities incorporate an actual, anticipated, or perceived loss into their daily lives. While complicated grieving is a disorder that occurs after the death of a significant other, in which the experience of distress accompanying bereavement fails to follow normative expectation and manifests in functional impairment. Next slide. The third is intervention. Nurses play a crucial role in helping patients navigate their emotions tied to loss. They achieve this through active listening and providing a supporting presence. This allows patients to express and connect their feelings to the loss. Additionally, nurses focus on bolstering coping mechanisms, offering anticipatory support, and aiding in the resolution of grief. And for the last is evaluation. Assessing the effectiveness of intervention is crucial in order to determine their impact. Nurses evaluate how well interventions are supporting individuals in managing and overcoming grief by using specific outcome criteria that are tailored to each person's circumstance. Next slide.
Your strategy effective communication in treatment treating grieving. Active listening, empathy and validation, open and non-directive question, respect their pace, avoid clickers and assumption, use non-verbal communication, normalize grief, provide information, respect their boundaries, collaborative approach, follow-up, self-care for caregivers. Next slide. Imaginal and in vivo exposure techniques in treatment treating grieving. Imaginal and in vivo exposure techniques are commonly used in treating anxiety disorder like PTSD and phobias. Then they involve gradually facing distress into our situation. However, that methods are not typically used for grief, as grief is a natural response to loss and not a mental disorder. In some cases, they may be indirectly relevant for individuals dealing with complicated grief or traumatic bereavement. Next slide. The following is the case. Mrs. Z, a 40 years old widow who works full-time as a laboratory technician, lost her husband to kidney cancer 2 years ago. Her husband's condition worsened over the 3 months leading up to his death, during which he underwent intensive radiation treatment to combat the cancer cell. Mrs. Z had been heavily reliant on her husband for family decision-making and financial matters. At the time, she could not envision life without him. Consequently, she refused to believe that her husband's condition was deteriorating, continuing to believe he had several more months to live. His death came as shock to her. She felt angry with her doctor for not doing more to save him and was angry with her husband for leaving her. She also felt greatly for her anger and for not being by her husband's side when he passed away. To avoid this difficult emotion, Mrs. Z tried to avoid thinking about death. Next slide.
Okay, so this is the dialogue we have created regarding the topic of traumatic grief treatment. This dialogue is about a patient who is grieving the loss of her husband. In this dialogue, the nurse uses imaginal techniques to help reduce traumatic sadness. Because time is limited, we'll immediately read the results of the assessment. Next slide. Next slide again. Okay, the assessment identity Mrs. Z, a 40 years old widow who works full-time as a laboratory technician. Second, identification of loss, the source or cause of the grief and sadness that Mrs. Z felt was her husband's death from kidney cancer. Third, previous grief history. The patient said that she had previously felt a loss since her husband was diagnosed with kidney cancer until 3 months before her death. Her husband's condition continued to deteriorate, and Mrs. Z felt sad and began to think that she could not live life without her husband because of financial problems. For coping mechanism, the patient says that she still often remembers her husband and regrets the loss of her husband. This suggests that this coping mechanism leads to denial because she still feels unable to accept her husband's death. Fifth emotional response: when examined and asked about his feelings, the patient initially appeared to be weeping and then crying while telling stories. This indicates that the patient still feels sad and can't accept the loss of his husband. Sixth spiritual response: the patient says that she can't live without her husband and still needs her husband. Mrs. Z feels she has no hope after losing her husband. Seventh, cognitive response: the patient says she's always remembering her husband, who indicates that Mrs. Z is trying to preserve the existence of the deceased. 8. Behavior: the patient looks confused, lame, and crying. Okay, next slide.
And this is the conclusion. Grieving is a natural process individuals go through after experiencing a loss. Nurses play a crucial role in providing compassionate care during this time, helping patients and their loved ones cope with grief. Factors influencing the grieving process include the nature of the loss, the relationship with the deceased, cultural and religious beliefs, support system, previous grief experiences, age, gender, personality, mental health, and time since the loss. Nursing care for grieving individuals involves assessment, diagnosis, intervention, and evaluation. This includes actively listening, providing empathy and validation, asking open-ended questions, respecting the individual's space, avoiding cliches, using nonverbal communication, normalizing grief, providing information, respecting boundaries, adopting a collaborative approach, and following up. Imaginal and in vivo exposure techniques, commonly used in anxiety disorders, may have limited application in grief treatment. Imaginal exposure involves revisiting distressing memories, while the in vivo exposure involves the facial real-life situation that trigger anxiety or fear. While not primary treatment for grief, these techniques may be indirectly relevant for individuals struggling with complicated grief or traumatic bereavement. Okay, next slide. And this is the reference we use. Next slide. That's it for our presentation on treating grieving patient and family. Hopefully it will be useful for all of us. We apologize if there are any mistakes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for group 2, regular 1. We can move on to the next. Okay, we can move on to the next group. For group from regular 3, you can present your work for 10 minutes. Can you share your screen? Kelompok 4, reguler 3. Okay, thank you for your confirmation. Okay, it's already shown.
Okay, thank you for the opportunities. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, good morning, everyone. Before we begin, I would like to say thank you for coming to today's lecture. I'm Lauren, and also my friends Darla, Andini, and Cici from Regular 1, Group 4. And the topic of our presentation today is treating grieving patient and family. And we are focusing on the treating grieving in the family. And by the end of the presentation, you will know how to treating grieving family very well. The next slide. And our purpose of today's presentation is to fulfill one of the nursing English course assignment guided by Dr. Nurse Retno Lestari, Bachelor of Nursing, Magister of Nursing. Next slide. And here's our member of group. Next slide. And here's of our table of content. Next slide. Okay, first thing first, I'll explain you about the background. First, mental health is a crucial global concern that demands attention. Various factors contribute to mental health problems, including grief and loss. Grieving is an inevitable part of life, often emerging after the loss of a loved one. Next slide. Okay, the definition of grief is the emotional response to loss experienced by individual. Grieving is concurrent with the experience of loss. It involves a wide range of emotional and physical manifestation. And here is manifestation of grieving. Okay, first are feeling sadness, anxiety, and restlessness. Second are physical symptoms, shortness of breath, rapid heartbeat, and sweating. Third, individualized, highly personal, varied among individuals. Fourth, emotion and reaction, sadness, anger, guilt, confusion, numbness, and sense of emptiness. And the last are physical symptoms, loss of appetite, fatigue, and difficulty sleeping. Next slide.
Okay, in predisposing factor, genetic factor, physical health, mental health, and past expression of loss. Next slide. Precipitation factor, loss of health, loss of sexual function, loss of roles within the family, loss of status in society, loss of position or loved ones, loss of citizenship. Next slide. Tips of grieving. A. Normal grieving. B. Grieving anticipation. C. Complicated grieving. And D. Close grieving.
And the next is sign and symptoms of grieving. The one is loss expression, crying, sleep disturbance, loss of appetite, loss of concentration, characteristic of prolonged grieving denial, continuous sadness, severe physical symptoms, desire for suicide. Next slide. Then response of the grief, spiritual response, physiological response, emotional response, and cognitive response. Next slide. Spiritual response is consists about searching for meaning, spiritual practice, questioning belief. Physiological response consists of physical symptoms, immune system impact, stress hormone. And then emotional response is about sadness, anger, guilt, anxiety, and depression. The last is cognitive response is shock and disbelief, rumination, memory and concentration issue, and then existential truth.
how to treating. The one is open and honest communication, respecting individual process, checking professional help if needed, sharing memories and creating memories, providing practical support, maintaining routine, practice self-care, offering special support to children, providing long-term support, and then being patient and understanding.
Okay, this is the exposure techniques. Exposure therapy is a psychological treatment that helps people confront their fears by gradually exposing them to the fear object, situation, or activity. Exposure technique consists about imaginal exposure and in vivo exposure, and both techniques are effective in treating mental health conditions like PTSD, phobia, OCD, and anxiety disorder, with in vivo exposure generally considered more effective, but a combination of both yielding excellent outcomes. Next slide.
Okay, so here's our case. The point of this case is there was a child named Dina. Her father died when she was 13 years old. She still can't live her daily life as usual because, of course, she still needs a father figure. She often kept quiet and locked herself in her room and also felt worried that she would not be able to continue her life after her father left. However, her mother continued to convince her to always pray to God. Dina tries to rise from her downturn and she studied diligently because she wants to make her father happy and meet him in heaven. Next slide. Okay, so here's our case analysis. The first one is background. In a small village, young Dina faced a challenging circumstance as she was left behind after her father's untimely demise when she was 13 years old. The second one is emotional impact. Dina experienced profound emotional turmoil due to the absence of a fatherly figure in her life. Her feelings range from sadness to hopelessness and despair, affecting various aspects of her life. Next slide. Okay, the third one is a holistic view. There are 4. The first one is spiritual response. She is seeking solace and tranquility in her faith, aiming to find inner peace and comfort amidst her distress. The second one is physiological impact. She faced difficulties in sleeping, affecting her overall well-being and daily routine. Next slide. The third one is emotional challenges. The absence of a parental figure, of course, led to a sense of hopelessness and anxiety about continuing life without her father. And the last one is cognitive responses. She became closed off and withdrawn from her immediate environment, struggling with dependence on her father's presence. Next slide. Okay, so the fourth one is coping strategies and resilience. There are 3. The first one is seeking support. The second one is academic resilience. And the third one is contribution to family. Next slide. So the conclusion for the case is Dina's story highlights the multi-phased impact of parental loss on a child's life. Despite the emotional, physical, cognitive challenges, her resilience, faith, and determination to overcome adversities stands as an inspiration, showcasing the human ability to navigate through difficult circumstances and emerge stronger. Next slide. Okay, so the conclusion for this presentation is grieving is a highly individualized experience with no specific timeline. Nurses out there must understand and support grieving behavior, considering factors like genetic, health, and past loss. Different types of grieving and symptoms may include loss expression, sleep problems, and also more. Grieving is influenced by culture, society, and personal factors, and it's a unique ongoing journey for each person. Next slide.
And here's the reference that we use. Next slide. And okay, that's all the presentation from our group. Thank you for your attention. If anyone has any question, please feel free to ask and we'll do our best to answer. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for presenting your work. We can continue to the next group. From group 4. Okay, your screen is already shown.
All right. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. We are from Group 2, Regular 4. And today we are going to represent our group project. Today we are going to discuss a topic, treating grieving patients. Next slide. This is our team from Group 2, Regular 4. Next slide. The topic are some of points that we are going to discuss today. There are definition, basic concept, factors affecting, things to do, the nurse's role, relationship between effective communication and treating. Next slide. First, the definition of treating grieving patients. Treating grieving patient is providing appropriate care and intervention to grieving patient to assist them in the recovery process of their grief. This treatment involves a holistic approach, including physical, emotional, psychological, and social care. Next slide. Here are the basic concepts of treating grieving patients, including first, assessment. Assessment is conducting a thorough assessment to understand the individual's unique experience of grief, including their coping mechanism, support system, and any complicating factors. Second, emotional support. This providing a safe and empathetic environment for the patients to express their emotion and validate their feelings of grief. Third, education. This providing information about the grieving process, normalizing their emotion, and helping them understand that grief is a natural response to loss. Fourth, coping strategies. Is assisting the patient in developing healthy coping mechanism to manage their grief, such as engaging in self-care activities, seeking support from loved ones, or participating in support groups. Fifth, medication management. This collaborating with healthcare providers to assess the need for pharmacological intervention to manage symptoms of grief, such as depression or anxiety. 6. Referrals. This making appropriate referrals to mental health professionals, counselors, or support groups to provide additional specialized support if needed. Next.
Okay. Next factor affecting treating grieving patient. The first, predisposition factor. Genetic. A person who has a family member or was raised in a family with a history of depression. Physical health. People who have good physical health and lead a regular lifestyle have a better ability and handle stress. Mental health. People with a history of mental health disorder are more sensitive to loss and a risk of relapse. The second, precipitation factor. Factor leading to loss include biopsychosocial loss, such as illness, loss of sexual function, loss of self-esteem, loss of employment, loss of role, and loss of social passion. A person can also affect how they experience grief. Children, teenagers, adults, and the elderly may have different responses to loss. Culture and religion context. Culture and religion also play a role in how one experiences grief. The value, belief, and practice association with grief can differ from one culture or religion to another. Next slide. things to do for treating grieving patient. Providing emotional support, providing care, empathy, and listening with understanding to the patient to help them express and manage their emotion. Providing information and education, explaining the grieving process, recognizing normal psych and complication of grieving, and providing information on available resources and support. Assist in developing health coping strategies. Assist the patient in identifying and developing effective coping strategies, such as taking to loved ones, participating in enjoyable activities, or seeking support from support groups, providing physical care. Ensure that the patient receives adequate physical care, such as balanced nutrition, adequate rest, and moderate exercise. Coordination team care. Work closely with other healthcare teams, such as psychologists, counselor, or social workers, to provide holistic and coordination care. Providing spiritual support, respecting and supporting the patient's spiritual needs, such as providing opportunities for prayer, meditation, or taking to a religious leader. Next.
Next, the nurse role to treating grieving patient. A nurse has on taking care of the most vulnerable population. They include patients and loved ones experience loss. It's important to access character sides of grief and loss and address the important. It is important for the nurse to start the process by building rapport with the patient and any present loved ones. Encouraged to speak openly and honestly about their emotional and physical feeling. The American Association of Critical Care Nurses support the method therapeutic communication and during emotional conversation topic called the nurse technique. Utilizing the technique when the communication with the people experience growth will help demonstrate empathy and building rapport by utilizing the nurse educates. It's important to be able to provide to a patient and the law often which the restaurant to adjust to their loss and help together to giving process. There may mean complex service their own carry of spiritual support, physical referral, individual therapy, group therapy, and communicative peer support, and group and well social works referrals. Next slide. Relationship between effect communication and treating grieving patient. The second, give to patient attention and empathy. Listen to patient and try to understand what they are going through and avoid giving advice to exposing patient before their fate. Second, do not assume something legend. Consider to what you as avoiding using what they may feel harsh into uncertain when it's come its loss and although words too many second in fit. Number three, ask open question. Open the other question, allow patient to talk more about their experience and feelings to help can help their feel hard to can help their in the giving process. Number four, allow space for feeling. Allow the patient to feel and experience to feel. Do not prefer to quickly of confession to their fair feeling or not right. That patient should feel that fair feeling are acceptable. Number five, provide information honesty. If you are healthcare professional providing medical information related to patient situation, provide the information and honest, understand manner. Avoid hiding information but deliver it carefully. Number six, respect the giving process. Remember that everyone has different way of coping with grief. Respect the step and time it takes patient to grieve. Impatient not ready do not feel to the need provide solution to games pampered. It's next slide.
Okay, so the conclusion of treating grieving patient is the job of a nurse is to be confronted with a lot of human ways of expressing their feelings. One of which is easy when someone is feeling a loss to something. Loss will be something that we can predict and unpredict, and everyone has to be confronted with a phase of loss that all have a certain process. The role of the nurse here is how to deal with the patient sensitive, asking open questions or related to their condition, giving the patient time and space to express their feeling of loss, providing information honestly or in accordance with the fact that staying careful at this stage, and appreciating the process of their loss. Nurse should do a lot of adaptation and improve their communication skills so that the desired outward appearance in nursing care achieve, one of which is that the patient can accept the fact that they're losing, the patient is able to open up, the patient can trust the nurse, and the patient feels more comfortable and calm afterwards. Next slide. Here are the reference that we use. Okay, that's all from group 2 regular 4. We are sorry and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for your presenting. And now we move on to the Q&A session. For those who have question for the group who has presented their work, is allowed to use the right hand feature and ask the question. Apa teman-teman punya pertanyaan untuk kelompok-kelompok yang sudah presentasi?
Ayo bertanya. Masih lapar ya, belum pada sarapan. Jangan ditinggal tidur nih. Halo.
Yes, nurse.
Oke. Coba buat pertanyaan 1 atau 2 untuk kelompok yang tadi sudah presentasi, silakan. Ayo.
Okay, since there's no question. Oh. Okay, we have one question here from Kak Diva Ayu. You are allowed to on your mic.
Thank you, Kiki and Estema, for the opportunity. Now, I want to ask a group to regular coaches for dealing with grieving patients.
I'm sorry, Kak Diva. We can hear your voice clearly. Maybe you can write your question down on the chat Zoom below. Kak Diva, are you here?
Yes, Ki, I'm sorry, I had a connection problem before. Now I want to ask group to regular too. On the slide regarding effective communication strategies for dealing with grieving patient, group 2 states that one of the strategies is. Now I want can you explain more clearly or more details about the strategy, about the follow-up strategy? What do you want to follow up and what mechanize in a good way like that, I think.
Okay, thank you, Kak Diva, for your question. For group 2 from paper 2, are you willingly to answer the question now or later?
Excuse me, Ki, I want to answer the question.
Okay, go ahead.
So the follow-up strategy is continue to check in with the person with the patient over time. Grief doesn't end after a single conservation or session. Regular follow-up and ongoing support are crucial. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Avrila, for your answer. What about Kak Diva? Is that clear or you have any feedback for the answer?
Okay, thank you. I think it's clear and thank you.
Okay, maybe another friend have any question for the group that has presented before? You're allowed to raise your hand and on your mic. Come on, guys, ask your question. Okay, here we have Lauren. You can on your mic and ask your question.
Thank you for the opportunities. I wanna ask to group 2 regular 4. We all know that some ethical consideration are sensitive things. And my question is, what are some ethical considerations that grief counselors should keep in mind when working with bereaved families, such as issues and confidentiality or potential conflict or interest? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question. For regular 4 from group 2, are you willingly to answer the question now or later? Okay, maybe we can go first to the Rizva Yunistia. You can on your mic and ask your question.
Okay, thank you, Ki. I want to ask question for group 2, regular 2. What is difference between grief for the patient and grief for the family? Maybe another group for that person grief for the family can answer this question. What is the difference between grief for the patient and grief for the family? According to me, is grief for the patient not like an amputation or they're got diagnosed by chronic disease like an cancer like that. So what is the difference between grief of the patient and grief for the family? That's all. Thank you, Ki.
Okay, thank you for your question. From group 2, from regular 2, are you willingly to answer the question now or later? Okay, for group 2 from regular 4, are you ready to answer the question from Lauren?
Can you give us about 5 to 7 minutes? We just got our question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Discuss until 8 past 20, okay? We have limited time now.
And for group 2 from regular 2, can you answer the question from this one now or later? You can discuss it from for 2 minutes again.
Excuse me, Ki, I want to answer.
Okay, go ahead.
So in our opinion, the answer is so simple because grief of passion only focus to passion. And we think the difference between grief passion and grief family in nursing care, such as assessment, diagnosis, intervention, and evaluation, which only focus to patient. But for the grief of family, it's more about how we educate the family to provide a good environment and support for the patient's peace of mind.
Okay, thank you for answering the question. How about Rispa? Is that clear or you have any?
Thank you, Avrila. It's clear for me.
Okay, thank you. How about the question from Lauren?
Okay, let me answer it. So the question is, know that some ethical consideration are sensitive things. What are some ethical consideration that nurse or grief counselor should keep in mind when working with bereaved families, such as issue of confidentiality or potential conflict of interest? So the answer is, when working as a nurse or grief counselor, there are some very important ethical considerations to keep in mind. This helps maintain the professional relationship with the patient or client, respect their rights and dignity, and provide good care. Here are some ethical considerations to keep in mind is confidentiality, honesty and integrity, and perhaps cultural respect and trust and the professional code of ethics. Is that clear?
I think it's totally clear. Thank you, Rikita.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you for both of you who has question and answering. Maybe we can end this Q&A session and move on to the feedback from Nurse Eno.
Okay, thank you very much for the hard work ya. Tadi so far sudah banyak penjelasan terkait dengan how we treat grieving patient. So maybe I would like to add several things about the theory about treating grieving patient and family. Oke, waktu saya sampai jam berapa? Sampai jam berapa?
Untuk jamnya kami sendiri tidak terlalu
Oke,
karena
nggak ada kelas ya, Stan.
karena kuliah kita selanjutnya tuh maghrib, jadi nggak apa-apa Nurse Eno.
Okay, so talking about the definition of grieving, ya, adalah berduka. Jadi mungkin ingat kembali kepada konsep, mungkin dulu sudah belajar di konsep dasar keperawatan terkait dengan grieving. So grieving it is a healthy, adaptive, separating process that attempts to overcome the stress of loss. Jadi siapapun yang mengalami rasa berduka akibat dari adanya kehilangan, itu adalah proses yang healthy dan adaptive. Jadi adalah proses yang normal dan memang akan dialami oleh setiap orang. But everyone responded differently. Jadi setiap orang itu punya respon yang berbeda-beda. Ada yang dia diam, ada yang dia nangis, ada yang dia marah, ya. Dan itu semua memang harus dilalui, ya. But kalau dia berlangsung sampai berbulan-bulan lama, sampai akhirnya dia berpengaruh terhadap segala hal aktivitas dia, ya, bisa jadi patologi. Jadi ada sesuatu yang perlu diperbaiki, ya. Jadi terkait dengan definisi grieving adalah proses yang adaptif, normal, it is healthy, dan setiap orang bisa mengalami berduka, ya. Justru yang terpenting di akhir adalah the absence of grieving in the face of loss suggests that it is a maladaptation process. Justru kalau tidak ada berduka, nanti mungkin ada indikasi maladaptif, ya, respon maladaptif, ya. Justru normalnya setiap orang pasti ada rasa berduka, tapi memang tampilannya pasti akan beda-beda. So, talking about the adaptive and maladaptive, ya, di dalam range of emotion itu ada respon adaptive dan ada maladaptive. Adaptive if we responded adaptively, kita respon emosinya tidak berlebihan atau justru suppress emosi. Yang tengah-tengah adalah supresi emosi, di mana kita tidak menimbulkan atau mengeluarkan emosi. Kalau maladaptif itu adalah justru reaksi berduka yang delay, terlambat, atau justru nanti berkepanjangan menjadi depression atau mania. Dan sama seperti kita kalau saya mengulang-ulang kembali bahwa istilah baper dan lain-lain, justru itu adalah respon emosi yang normal. Tapi kalau kita justru mungkin tidak bisa mengatasi solusi dari apa yang kita rasakan, itu justru yang menjadi permasalahan. Jadi any respon yang memang langsung kita rasakan itu adalah respon yang normal, ya. Jadi emotional responsiveness itu apa? An openness to and awareness of feelings. Jadi kita sadar dengan apa yang kita rasakan. In this way, feelings provide us with valuable learning experiences. Jadi kita ngerti kenapa kita kecewa, kenapa kita marah, itu kita alami. Sehingga dari sana kita akan belajar bahwa kalau aku kecewa, aku harus bagaimana. Dan itu kita bicarakan dengan diri sendiri. Sehingga kita bisa responnya itu berfungsi dengan baik. Meanwhile, kalau misalkan kita suppress emosi, nggak boleh baper, nggak boleh nangis, dan sebagainya, justru itu akan membuat diri kita tidak bisa aware dengan feeling kita. Tidak bisa menyadari apa yang kita rasakan sesungguhnya. Sehingga kalau misalkan ditanya orang sedih apa enggak, biasa aja. Karena kita mungkin terbiasa untuk ekspresi emosi.
Nah, itu yang nggak baik ya. Jadi, any response yang memang kita rasakan saat ini, ya, itu adalah respon yang normal, ya. And then, kemudian beranjak ke kanan ada istilahnya uncomplicated grief reaction. Reaksi berduka yang tidak memiliki komplikasi. That the person is facing the reality of the loss and is immersed in the world of grieving. Jadi dia menghadapi kenyataan kehilangan, ya, dan dia sedang berproses untuk melalui proses berduka tersebut, ya. Sedangkan yang mengarah ke kanan itu adalah respon yang maladaptif, dimulai dari supresi emosi, di mana seorang mungkin deny their feelings, ya, atau mungkin detach from their feelings, yang mereka kata orang nggak boleh baper, jadi mungkin dikubur dalam-dalam emosinya. Justru kalau semakin kita tidak mengenali apa yang kita rasa, tidak aware dengan apa yang kita rasa, kita terbiasa untuk menekan emosi tersebut, sehingga begitu ada peristiwa stres yang berikutnya, gitu ya, kita semakin memuncak dan tidak tahu bagaimana yang harus kita lakukan, gitu. Tapi kalau sedikit step by step, setiap kali proses yang membuat kita stres itu kita lalui, kita tahu bagaimana mengembangkan cara kita untuk coping, ya. Justru di situ malah lebih baik ketimbang kita tidak merasakan apa yang kita rasakan. So, temporary suppression of feelings may at times be necessary to cope. Ya, mungkin kadangkala ketika menghadapi proses berduka mungkin agak sedikit kelihatan tidak sedih, mungkin karena dia fokus dengan apa yang harus dilakukan. Misalkan kalau ada keluarganya yang meninggal, mungkin dia tidak terlalu terlihat menangis, tapi setelah itu mungkin dia akan kelihatan sedih ketika prosesinya sudah selesai, gitu ya. It is an initial response to a death or tragedy, ya. Jadi mungkin dia tidak begitu terlihat menangis, ya. Kalau temporary mungkin ya memang dia fokusnya pada things to do at that time. Sedangkan yang ke kanan berikutnya adalah delayed grief reaction, adalah reaksi berduka yang telat, gitu ya. It is a maladaptive, a prolonged suppression of emotion. Emosi yang ditekan begitu lama dan akhirnya mempengaruhi aktivitas kita sehari-hari, gitu ya. Jadi justru emosi apapun yang kita rasakan itu ya memang harus kita kenali, gitu ya. Tidak bisa ditekan, karena justru kalau kita tekan kita nggak tahu gimana cari solusinya, dan kita terus nggak minat aktivitas, kemudian ngerasa fatigue seperti tadi di PPT, ngerasa fatigue, ngerasa tidak nafsu makan, gitu ya, dan lain-lain yang pengaruh ke fisik, sehingga setelah itu akhirnya akan pengaruhi imunitas tubuh, mendadak kena penyakit tertentu, dan lain-lain, ya. Dan itu semua berawal dari supresi emosi, ya. And the last thing yang ada di maladaptive response adalah depression or mania, ya. Depression and mania might seen in bipolar disorder patient, ya. Tapi kita tidak bisa mendiagnosa seseorang itu bipolar unless didiagnosa oleh psikiater, ya. Jadi kalau mengerjakan kuis atau tes online yang ingin mengetahui apakah dia bipolar, itu hanya sekedar kuis, ya. Tapi untuk membuat diagnosanya menjadi bipolar itu ada beberapa pemeriksaan yang harus dilakukan oleh psikiatris, ya. Oke, bipolar disorder umumnya akan interfere with social and physiological functioning, akan mempengaruhi fungsional fisik dan juga kehidupan sosial, ya. Oke, itu sekilas terkait dengan emotional response yang terlihat pada proses berduka. Oke, sign and symptoms. Kalau tadi sudah belajar terkait dengan sign and symptoms, ada istilah complicated grieving yang berdukanya memang dia sangat kompleks ya. Mungkin dia begin lack of trust in others ya. Dia tidak mudah percaya dengan orang lain gitu ya. Kemudian feeling numb, mati rasa gitu ya. Kalau ditanya mungkin kelihatan diam dan tidak terlalu banyak respons ya. Intense sorrow, pain, and rumination over the loss ya. Sedih berkepanjangan, sakit yang berkepanjangan. Inability to focus on anything other than the loss itself. Tidak mampu untuk fokus rasa kehilangannya sendiri for the disease. Jadi dia mungkin ngerasa merindukan sekali dengan situasi yang dulu-dulu dia sudah terlewati gitu ya. Kemudian difficulty accepting the death, sulit untuk menerima kenyataan bahwa dia sudah mengalami kehilangan tersebut. Kemudian bitterness about the loss, dia merasa hidupnya itu pahit, tidak ada gunanya lagi. Feelings that life holds no meaning or purpose, dia tidak ada tujuan hidup lagi. Inability to enjoy life or even remember any positive experiences of loved one. Orang kalau sudah berduka itu tidak bisa mengingat kembali hal-hal yang positif karena dia merasa ruang di dalam hidupnya itu lebih banyak empty daripada positive experiences. Jadi kalau kita menghadapi orang yang berduka itu tidak perlu kita banyak menasehati, banyak ceramah panjang lebar. Justru yang dibutuhkan adalah feeling bahwa dia tidak sendiri. Ada orang yang bisa diajak untuk bercerita. Apapun yang dia pikirkan saat itu, dia mau nangis, dia mau marah, gitu ya. Dan itu tidak bisa kita paksa pun dia untuk bercerita, karena bisa jadi justru mungkin dia akan merasa sakit hati, gitu ya. Kemudian yang terakhir adalah have trouble carrying out normal routines. Jadi dia mungkin tidak, karena memang dia tidak fokus untuk mengerjakan hal yang lain di dalam rutinitas sehari-hari, dia mungkin tidak ada minat untuk mengerjakan rutinitas sehari-hari. Okay, these are the 5 stages of grief developed by Kubler-Ross yang mungkin juga sudah hafal ya. Setiap orang itu menjalani tahapan-tahapan ini dengan respon yang berbeda-beda ya. Ada yang mungkin dia awalnya kelihatan denial, ada yang mungkin kelihatannya anger, ada yang mungkin kelihatannya diam dan dipikir dia sudah acceptance. Jadi justru acceptance itu kita melihat orang bisa accept kondisi grieving-nya itu bukan terlihat dia diam, dia ngomong oke, baik-baik aja. Itu bukan signs bahwa dia accept the condition. Ya. Justru acceptance means that mereka bisa mengikuti rutinitas sehari-harinya, mereka mencoba untuk move on gitu ya. Dan itu tampak terlihat gitu ya. Jadi kalau hanya bilang bahwa I'm okay, I'm alright gitu ya, tapi dia tetap di kamar sendirian dan tidak ada aktivitas berarti, itu berarti belum acceptance. Bisa jadi mungkin dia masih ada di dalam fase depression ya. Ya, unless dia keluar rumah dan melakukan rutinitas sehari-hari ya. Jadi setiap orang ya, setiap kita mungkin akan menghadapi stage yang berbeda-beda dan tidak bisa kita paksakan bahwa aku juga dulu pernah merasa seperti ini, sedih gitu ya, tapi jangan terlalu lama, kamu harus bangkit. No, setiap orang itu prosesnya berbeda-beda. Nggak bisa kita samakan gitu ya. Gitu. Jadi justru tidak perlu banyak menasehati, tapi kasih tahu bahwa kita itu ada, dia bisa cerita kalau dia kepengen cerita anytime ya. Okay, the first stage of grieving adalah denial. Denial is the first of the 5 stages of grieving when a person firstly hears that they discover a loss. Jadi dia merasa kehilangan. So mungkin kalimatnya misalkan this can be happening, ya. Kemudian nggak mungkin gitu ya. Itu adalah denial. Ya, the person may feel upset or senseless, ya merasa kecewa gitu ya. Anger adalah stage kedua di dalam fase healing, proses berduka. Ya, as the reality sets in, the person is faced with the pain of the loss. He or she might feel frustrated and weak. Karena dia ngerti bahwa realitanya bahwa dia sudah mengalami kehilangan, mungkin dia akan kelihatan marah karena merasa frustrasi, merasa lemah, tidak berdaya. Ya. Yang ketiga adalah bargaining. So before a loss, it seems like the person will do anything if only his or her loved one will be safe. And during this stage, he or she dwells on what could have done to counteract the loss. Ya. General thoughts are if only kalau aja dia masih hidup, ya. Seandainya aja dia masih hidup, ya. Seandainya aja Tuhan ngambil aku bukan dia, gitu ya. Itu adalah tahapan bargaining. And then depression, the next stage adalah ketika the person begin to understand loss and its effect in life. And indikasinya orang yang ada di tahapan depression untuk proses berduka ini include crying, sleep issues, dia tidak bisa tidur, insomnia, and a decreased appetite, nafsu makan berkurang. He or she will feel liberated, frustrated, and empty, merasa kosong. Acceptance itu tadi ya. Orang yang ngomong I'm okay, I'm alright itu bukan berarti acceptance, tapi kita akan melihat dia accept ketika dia sudah bisa move on, dan dia sudah tahu apa yang direncanakan next selanjutnya. Okay, what can we do as a nurse? Nursing care. First of all, we can do the assessment. We need to distinguish behaviors that indicates the grieving process. Kita perlu membedakan perilaku mana yang memang mengindikasikan bahwa itu adalah proses berduka. Kita lihat dari the stages of grieving tadi. Yang berikutnya juga mungkin kejadian yang baru saja terjadi, yaitu adalah bagian dari kenapa dia mengalami berduka. Ya. Dan kehilangan itu juga bukan hanya kehilangan orang ya, tapi kehilangan banyak hal, harta benda, kemudian segala hal yang dia miliki itu adalah berduka. Ya, assess the phase of grieving being experienced by the patient and significant others, mengkaji fase grievingnya pada pasien dan keluarganya. Bisa jadi mungkin pasiennya mungkin kelihatan tidak terlalu tampak respon denial atau anger, tapi keluarganya mungkin terlihat denial. Ya. Evaluate whether the patient and significant others vary in their stages of grieving. Mengevaluasi apakah pasien dan keluarganya itu beda-beda stages grievingnya. Kemudian determine the potential for a complicated grieving response. Dikaji kira-kira ada potensi nggak respon berduka yang complicated dengan tanda-tanda yang sedih berkepanjangan seperti tadi dan lain-lain. Assess the patient's ability to make decisions. Mengkaji kemampuan pasien untuk mengambil keputusan, ya. Kalau dia tidak atau belum mampu gitu ya, berarti mungkin dia masih ada di fase-fase denial gitu ya, atau anger atau bargaining. Know the availability of support system for the patient. Kenali bahwa pasien tidak sendiri, ada support system yang hadir bersama pasien. Kemudian bisa juga support sharing of common problems with others, ya. Sering bercerita bahwa memang setiap orang pasti akan juga melalui proses kehilangan itu tadi, dan setiap orang pasti akan beda-beda reaksinya. Kemudian evaluate the need for referral to social services, legal consultants, or support groups. Mengevaluasi apakah ada kebutuhan untuk dia perlu ke konsultan atau komunitas tertentu untuk sistem mendukung dia. Oke, itu adalah assessment. Kemudian interventionnya apa? Ya, we do the communication therapeutically with patient and family members and allow them to verbalize feelings. Kita komunikasi dan berikan kesempatan pasien dan keluarganya untuk bercerita. Yang kedua, support patient and significant others, share their mutual fears, concerns, plans, and hope for each other. Mensupport pasien dan keluarganya untuk mungkin saling berbagi rasa cemas, takut, mungkin rencana selanjutnya dan harapannya. Kemudian encourage significant others to manage their own self-care needs for rest, sleep, nutrition, leisure activities, and time away from the patient. Menguatkan keluarganya untuk tetap memenuhi kebutuhannya sendiri untuk istirahat, makan, break gitu ya, dan mungkin memberikan space untuk pasien merenung gitu ya. Kemudian strengthen the patient's efforts to go on with his or her life and normal routine. Menguatkan upaya pasien untuk dia mau berjuang melanjutkan rutinitas dia. Consider the patient's or family's denial about the loss, for it is part of the grieving process. Ya, kita harus memaklumi jika terjadi denial pada pasien dan keluarganya terkait dengan kehilangan tersebut. And refer the patient and family to community resources. Kalau misalnya kemudian in therapeutic communication. Okay, the nurse may respond something like this. You feel overwhelmed, gitu ya. You feel overwhelmed tuh ya memang kelihatan berantakan gitu ya. Terlihat capek gitu ya. Dan tidak terlalu konotasinya negatif ya. I feel overwhelmed gitu ya. There is so much going on. How can I help you? Ya, ada banyak. Kemudian to show our respect, kita mungkin juga bisa ngomong I'm really impressed with how well you are handling everything. Ya, itu adalah respect. Saya begitu terkesima gitu ya melihat dia bisa mengatasinya sebaik ini. To show our support, I'll be here with you all the shift. To explore experience apa yang dirasakan oleh pasien, what is the hardest part gitu. Ask them if you can give them a hug and don't say I know how you feel ya. Jangan pernah berkata bahwa aku tahu apa yang kamu rasakan. Nah, dia akan dibalik. Emang iya kamu pernah ngerasa kehilangan, kamu aja orang tuanya masih utuh semua gitu ya. Jadi walaupun mungkin kita terlihat kepengen show empathy gitu ya, tapi empathy dengan kalimat I know how you feel itu tidak tepat gitu. Kalau dulu-dulu mungkin itu sering diungkapkan gitu ya, I know how you feel itu nggak bisa kita menjudge bahwa dia bisa merasakan apa yang orang lain rasakan gitu ya, karena memang yang jelas respon setiap orang itu berbeda-beda. Ya mungkin sedih, tapi tidak mungkin orang benar-benar paham apa yang sedang dirasakan. Sehingga komunikasi kita yang berkembang adalah itu tadi gitu ya. Aku tahu ini berat gitu ya, tapi aku ada di sini kalau kamu mau cerita gitu ya. Itu aja gitu ya. Ini pasti berat sekali gitu. Tapi jangan kita ngomong bahwa I know how you feel gitu ya. Dan kelihatan kayak kita paling ngerasa banget, padahal belum tentu gitu ya. Kemudian expressing condolence, ya. Sometimes we have to empathize with the person who has experienced pain or grief for the loss of someone. Ngomongnya gimana? I'm deeply sorry to hear about the death of. I'm really sorry to hear about the death of. I was heartbroken by the sadness. Words can express the sadness I feel about. Words fall short of expressing my sadness. Let me express my sorrow for the loss of. Please accept our heartfelt condolences. We will never forget. We will always remember. We will sadly miss. Jadi ini adalah kalimat-kalimat yang menunjukkan condolence, ya, rasa berduka. Oke, coba sekarang dikerjakan sekilas, ya. Please fill in the space dengan kolomnya. Oke, sudah ya. Oke, guys, ditebak yang pertama. Grief is a normal, unexpected reaction to loss. Kemudian kalimat keduanya apa?
Anticipatory.
Anticipatory.
An emotional response that is experienced before a true
Loss.
loss yang mana?
Yang S-nya double. L-U.
Other terms for this present state include
Preparation.
preparation.
Prepar.
Benar, preparation. Semuanya preparation.
Preparatory soalnya yang di atas anticipatory.
Ada lagi kenapa alasannya preparatory? Kalau preparation nggak bisa ya? Kan ini ada istilah kan namanya memang dia di dalam medis namanya preparatory grief atau premature grief. Ya, bisa dibaca. Kemudian, the specific subset of grief is an unconscious process that happens when stability is
Threatened.
threatened yang mana? Threaten yang mana?
The last
Yang
one.
last one.
Okay. Most often by a new and unwelcome diagnosis. Kemudian next. Anticipatory grief encompasses the mourning, kemudian
Coping.
hoping and planning of one's life in response to an impending. Oh ini penanya lupa. As losses of identity function and potentially loss-nya yang mana? Loss-nya yang mana?
Yang kedua, nurse.
Yang kedua, accumulates along the illness trajectory. Kemudian yang berikutnya anticipatory grief process continue to be triggered. The result is often an
Overwhelm.
Yang kedua, cumulative loss yang mana? Cumulative loss yang mana? Loss yang mana? Loss.
Yang kedua.
Yang kedua. Kedua benar. Ya, kedua ya. Okay, palliative care nurses are uniquely positioned to screen and treat the grief. Okay, next. Lanjutkan dalam waktu 5 menit. Please fill in the blanks with the right word. Sudah bisa? Yang A apa?
Depression.
Depression. Nomor 2, yang B.
Acceptance.
Nomor C.
Grief.
Grief. Good nursing care. Yang D.
Genuine.
Genuine. Yang E.
Being honest.
Honest. Yang F.
Mourning.
Mourning. Terakhir.
Yang terakhir. Oh, denial.
Denial. Benar. Benar ya? Oke. Oke, ini sedikit gambaran ya. Please explain nurses' responses to the following patient case study. So there is Mrs. Amina is a 36-year-old woman with metastatic cervical cancer who has undergone chemotherapy and radiation. She is now re-hospitalized because of complications and uncontrolled symptoms. She has a husband and 2 children, aged 8 and 5 years old. Doctor discusses a new finding of organ metastasis and the lack of further chemotherapy options available, and then leaves the room. As a nurse, what kind of strategies to address the potential range of emotions during this interaction? Jadi ini tugasnya yang bisa dikerjakan untuk pertemuan hari ini, nanti bisa dikumpulkan di PLM ya. Explain in 3 paragraphs. Materinya sudah saya upload di PLM, tinggal dikerjakan tugasnya. Okay, that is all for today. Question for today's topic. No. Okay, kalau tidak ada, bisa kita akhiri. So, thank you very much for today. I'll see you again next time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning.
Waalaikumsalam
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Nurse.
Thank you.